This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store. Delighted to be joined by Frank Smith. It's early doors in the UK, but you are in Japan ahead of a very busy sporting weekend. Matchroom in Philadelphia, England in the Euros final. Obviously, Matchroom also in Japan as well as the start of the prize fighter tournament. Other than that, how's things, mate? Looking forward to this weekend as to offer.
Yeah, good, mate. Good. It's exciting. Big weekend, as you say, Philadelphia for us with Jaron Ennis, packed out Wells Fargo Centre. So excited for that show. I'll be up watching that. And then, yeah, England. That's 4 o'clock in the morning for me on Monday in Japan. Go and do the job, win it finally. I'm sad I'm not there. I went to the last Euros final,
Yeah.
which was a letdown. But I think that hopefully they can do the job. I'm actually out here with a load of Spanish people as well,
Oh, okay.
so we'll probably end up watching it together. And yeah, Monday prize fighter kicks off in Osaka. It's been a long time coming, few delays on the way, but we're finally here. Just a couple of days away now.
Absolutely, for sure. And I suppose you can't be the only one that'll be staying up at 4 a.m. to watch England again. Surely you'd be. I'm sure Sam Jones, Tony Sims, and Mick Hennessy they'll be happy to assist you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a struggle whether you can stay up till 4 o'clock. I haven't got the power anymore. I'm getting old and losing my touch. So, unfortunately, I have to be at the venue early. But I will be. I'm sure I'll put an alarm on. Hopefully, it doesn't disappoint.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not. But yeah, I suppose we'll start on Japan in Osaka. Yeah, the tournament starts on Monday. Some good fights. Obviously, Aaron McKenna, Giovanni Estella, Kieran Conway out, Mark Dickinson, as I suppose as for the UK audience to look at. I'm so excited, I suppose, for it to all get going on Monday, I guess.
Yeah, look, 100%. And it's a massive opportunity for all of the guys involved. I've said the middleweight division's wide open right now. And I think whoever comes out of this tournament in the next 8, 9 months sets themselves up to challenge for a world title. It's a massive opportunity. Some great fights there, as you say. McKenna against Estella, I think, is going to be a brilliant fight. You know, Mark Dickinson's out against the local Takisako. Um, Kieran Conway against Eniwa is a tough fight for him as well. And then the rematch of Kani and Kunimoto as well, which was a great fight the first time round, just 3 or 4 months ago now. So it's exciting that it's finally here because, like I said, it's been a long time coming. We've wanted to launch Prize Fighter back up. And we pushed hard, and I'm glad we're here. And it's the start of something for us new in Japan as well.
Is there any part of you that would prefer a potentially a domestic final in I guess because obviously it is a UK based promotion. So for yourself, is there any part of yourself that maybe I know if with the way that the branches work, it would be like the domestic final would be like a Dickinson either against the McKenna or Conway. So would that ideally be preferred for yourself, or is it not too bothered?
Look, obviously we work with a number of the fighters. It's an event that's focused on Japan. You've obviously got an all Japanese quarterfinal in one of them, and Mark Dickinson fights the other Japanese fighter. So there's going to be one Japanese fighter in the semi-final. Look, I want all the guys we look after to have the best possible run. But I'm just looking forward to a great tournament. And like I say, whoever comes out winning this tournament is going to set themselves up to win to challenge for a world title.
Definitely. And for yourself, when you open up to new markets, for example, the first show in Osaka, and then first time like for this weekend as well, first time bringing boots to Philadelphia. Obviously, not the first match we show in Philadelphia, but the first time bringing boots there, and say Matthias in Puerto Rico, for example. What is the decision? So how long is it a decision to realize that logistics stack up to make sure we go to these places and it isn't like a fail, I guess.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of work that goes into it. We did it as well when we did Haney against Prograis in San
Hmm.
Francisco. A lot of people doubted that decision, but look at the numbers it did and delivered. Um, Japan. I think when you look at our global schedule, for us it's all about opening up in new markets. Where we are as a
Yeah.
business now, we want to. The sport of boxing is a truly global sport, and we're the only promoter who are delivering shows in 8, 9 countries every year. No one else is doing that. So Japan, it was a big deal for us, something that we've worked on for a while, and something that I'm very focused on is looking at new markets. Obviously, when we go to new locations, like you said there, when we choose to go to Philadelphia, for example, that's obviously led heavily by the fighter and
Yeah.
where they're from. But it's not rocket science all the time with those sort of decisions, like Jaron Ennis taking him to Philadelphia, taking him to the Wells Fargo Center. Did I think it would do as well as it has done? Maybe not to the levels, but I think it's simple. Take
Yeah.
fighters where they're from. We've seen it in the past. Terence Crawford when he fought in Omaha, Nebraska. I was there for I think one or two of them. The atmosphere was tremendous. And that's the same again replicated with a number of fighters. When you look at Errol Spence and he used to fight in Dallas, like they do
Yeah.
numbers. So yeah, it's again on that side, it's not rocket science, but a big focus for me is looking at new territories where boxing's growing. Japan, especially with the likes of Inoue, is a market where there's huge appetite for boxing. So we want to be involved in that.
And for yourself, would you ever say there's been reluctance to like open up new markets when you've had worries there? Like, is there been a certain fight you'd be like, oh, I'm not sure this may pay off, but we might take a risk?
I think we're always, you're always taking a risk when you're trying to expand, when you're trying to do new things. It'd be very easy for us to sit back and go, we got to, go back 8 years ago, 7 years ago, to sit back and go, we've got a tremendous business in the UK. Happy days, we'll just run this. Then you go, right, we've got a tremendous business in the UK and US. Let's just run with this. Then you have Mexico in there. Then you do the shows in Monaco. Then you add in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. We've done shows in Abu Dhabi. We've done, we're doing events all around the world. We're in discussions around taking some events to Africa as well. It would be very easy as a business just to sit back and sort of, like I say, rest on the success of what we've done so far. But that's not who we are as a business. And look, every new market brings challenges. Coming to Japan, we've never done an event in Japan before.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes on in the background. There's a lot that people don't see. But in order to get to where we want to be as a business, you have to take risks and you have to take chances, and there's going to be problems along the way, but you just have to deal with them.
Definitely, for sure. I suppose we'll just quickly move on to Philadelphia. First time Matchroom, I believe you've done a show there since Tevin Farmer against John O'Carroll, I believe. So yeah, another exciting card as Boots makes the return to Philadelphia that he hasn't done in about 6 years now. And there's some decent fights on the card. Jalil Hackett against Pete Dobson, who's obviously a new signing for Matchroom. Sky Nielsen against Diana Vargas. So yeah, I suppose when they all walk to the ring in about 16, 18 hours time, be an exciting one.
Yeah, 100%. Look, like I said, for us to take Jaron Ennis to Philadelphia is not rocket science. He should have been done before. He's a tremendous fighter that we believe is going to rule in the sport for a long, long time. And it just shows that there's appetite for him, and he's never really had the promotion he deserves. So can you imagine after a few years of having the right fights, in the right locations, where he could be in his career? And we're really excited about where we can take him with that. As you say, great card as well. And by the way, David Avanesyan, I think, is a better fight than the Cody Crawley fight. The original fight that was planned for there. So a brilliant main event, a great undercard, as you say as well. Jalil Hackett is, I've never seen Jalil Hackett personally, but a lot of people very hot on Jalil Hackett and what he's got to bring. Pete Dobson, we've seen him; he's a tough opponent. It's been a feisty build-up between the two of them, so I think that we're in for a great fight there. Sky Nicholson's back out defending her world title for the first time, so excited for that. Khalil Coe as well. Very exciting fighter in the 175-pound division. He had last-minute change of opponent, but still a tough fight for him. So, I think we're in for a great night tonight in Philadelphia, and yeah, looking forward to seeing the atmosphere because we're coming off the back of a great run, especially in the US. When you look at, Puerto Rico, we had 9,000 people in there. Estrada against Bam just the other week in Phoenix had 9,000 people in there. So we're in a great place and exciting times for us in the US.
And when it comes to Boots, especially in the welterweight division, we don't know what Crawford's doing. Obviously, the belts are going to become fragmented heavily there. How much do you feel like it's important now that you can secure big fights for Boots? For example, if Crawford does end up moving up, we're obviously seeing guys like Virgil Ortiz who've moved up as well. So you're still confident at 147? There's still massive fights there for him?
Yeah, for sure, 1,000,000%. And he's spoken now a lot about the Crawford fight. That's the fight he wants. He wants the biggest fights possible. You know, we got Giasov, who's the mandatory challenger for Stanionis as well at 147 pounds. You know, there's another big fight to be made there. You know, there's lots of big opportunities for him. He's got to get through Saturday night first, and then work from there. But you know, I think he's in the best place possible.
Definitely, for sure. And one guy who will be there ringside, I believe, tonight is Shakur Stevenson. Him and Eddie have been very complimentary of each other of recent times, especially with Shakur coming to an end of his top rank contract. Um, how possible do you think that the conversations with Shakur can be a successful one with what he wants to do? You know, whether he wants to be a free agent or he wants to have a couple of fights in Matchroom. Do you think if he did want to have a few fights in Matchroom or even one fight in Matchroom, that'd be something you'd be willing to entertain?
Yeah, look, I'm sure there'll be discussions. He's a tremendous fighter. You only have to look at the run we've been on recently of signings, you know, with Sabriel Matias, who obviously got beat by Liam Paro, but everyone believed was the best at 140 in the division. You know, every promoter in the US wanted him. The same with signing Jaron Ennis as well. You know, we've been on a real good run of bringing the best talent to Matchroom USA. And I think, you know, we're in that top sort of group of opportunities for Shakur Stevenson. But he might get an opportunity that makes more sense for him. You know,
Yeah.
and he's in a great place. He's a big name in the sport. He delivers big numbers. He's a tremendous fighter. So, you know, we'll see how things play out.
De La Hoya said he'd only make the Zepeda fight if Shakur signed a promotional contract with Golden Boy. Do you think that's like a fair thing for De La Hoya or something that Shakur would entertain?
Just sounds like something Oscar De La Hoya would say. You know,
Yeah.
look, these people, he's great because he comes out and says he wants to work with everyone. Then the next day, you know, it's mixed messaging. But take it with a pinch of salt as well. You know, but he's going to say what he needs to say that makes sense for him.
Yeah, completely fair enough. Did want to ask you about Chris Eubank Jr. Announced this week that he signed a partnership deal with Boxer. Still unsure what that entails. Not sure if it's like a promotional deal or he's working alongside Boxer. But as far as you're aware, what do you make of, I suppose, the signing of Eubank Jr. and I suppose the decision in his career to go to Sky at this stage?
Yeah, look, I've always been open. He's a massive name in the sport, you know, a massive name in UK boxing. I think when you look at probably the top four names in British boxing right now, that's Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Chris Eubank Jr., and Conor Benn. Are those four fighters I've got? I think anyway. You know, people will have other opinions, but I think in terms of profile, and you know, everyone, you know, we had I had discussions with his team around opportunities, and you know, it was very much focused uh, around the Conor Benn fight because that's
Yeah,
the fight his team have openly said, you know, time and time again, that's the fight they want to make.
yeah,
I think I don't, like you say, I don't know what partnership means. You know, I've never heard of
yeah,
that. As
yeah.
in
What?
terms of whether it's a promotional deal or partnership. I guess it's not a promotional deal, otherwise they would have said
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
But
you know,
what was so what I believe it is because I think it might have been Dan Rayfield reported it or someone reported it that Ben Shalom's negotiating on behalf of Chris Eubank Jr. So for this
well,
Canelo fight,
that's dangerous for him.
so he's speaking to Al Heyman about the Canelo fight. So I was going to ask you, do you think if you look at a Conor Benn fight, that makes it a little bit more difficult when you try and negotiate with Ben Shalom? And but I say we don't know the situation with the TV deal, but you think it makes it a little bit more difficult?
Yeah. Look, if you were asking me, I don't know why you'd need Ben Shalom to negotiate a fight with Al Heyman for you against Canelo Alvarez. Not sure what he really brings to the table. That's my honest opinion. Um, if you're a free agent, especially if you're a free agent, you're in a great place.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
what I'm saying is if you're going into a fight like Canelo Alvarez, you maximise your money being a free agent
yeah,
yourself.
hmm
If you want warm up fights, if you want someone to deliver you fights, different story. Ben Shalom's paying him a ton loads of money to have some warm up fights, and off the back of that, then he's involved in the big fights. Then different conversation. If you're saying you're signing with someone when you're a free agent to go and get the fight against the biggest star in world boxing, I don't really get that personally, and I'd
yeah,
say that to them myself as well.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
You know, but look, I think the conversations I've had with his team were that you know they want to make the Conor Benn fight. They're able to make the Conor Benn fight with us. So again, like I say, I don't know what partnership means. For as far as I'm concerned, they're able to go and do the Conor Benn fight with us. Um, And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But you know, I think he's in a great place in the sport. But he's obviously got to make the right decisions now in terms of what fights he takes. And he's not, look, he's not a 22-year-old prospect.
Hmm.
He's coming towards probably the last, I guess, again, I can't speak for him, but the last 2 years of his career. And there's big fights to be made, and a lot of money to be made. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure you'll be speaking to Benn and no, but like an interview with Benn and Chris, and they'll be
Of
able to give
course,
you more clarity on what it actually is.
Yes, but you saying that there at this point in Chris Eubank Jr. career, say for example he wants to warm up fights. What do you make like? Do you think what do you make of that career as a I suppose a seasoned pro that he is that would still want I guess warm up fights before he fights someone like a Conor Benn for example?
Yeah, look, I'm not sitting here saying Chris Eubank Jr. going into a Canelo Alvarez. Say it was Canelo next, right? With a 12 months out the ring is ideal. You're going in against one of the best fighters in the world. No, that's not ideal. So I understand the concept of, and with the discussions we had were around a warm-up fight or stay busy fight, whatever you want to call it, however you want to describe it, and then going into the Conor Benn fight. But it was just really with that was the time frames they probably wanted two of those types of fights, and we couldn't deliver that. That's not what we could deliver. Our focus was we'll do a fight in, I don't know, September, October, probably October, and then go straight into the Conor Benn fight by X date. But yeah, I'm not sitting here saying I'm not an athlete, obviously, but I can imagine going into a fight of the magnitude of some of these names. You don't want to go in there just straight off the bat. But if the right opportunity presents itself, you'll go in there. If he gets offered amazing money to fight Canelo Alvarez straight off the bat without a warm-up, he's doing it all day long. Of course he is. But that's not where you need, as being a free agent. I'm not sure what adding Boxer to the mix does to that.
Completely fair enough. Did want to move on. Obviously September 21st is a big date. Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver went on their podcast Talk Boxing and talked about the fight, and they said about sort of when Dubois lands, AJ will have like PTSD, I suppose, from his chin. This provokes a response from Eddie to talk about AJ's chin being sort of very underrated and getting heavily criticised for no reason. I suppose from a fan point of view, when you look at there's so much topic of conversation about AJ's chin. Would you agree with Hearn on the sense that he's actually, is very good and not as bad as people may make it out to be?
Yeah, I mean, look, when you look at some of the punches, you look at the Klitschko fight, especially. I know that's what Eddie said as well, but we're talking about heavyweight boxing. That's what people tune in for. Is the fact that everyone's look at everyone in there. Usyk's been hurt. Tyson Fury's been hurt a lot more than Anthony Joshua. And it's just the way it is. But that's why we tune in. That's why we watch heavyweight boxing, because it's unpredictable. But yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, he's got this. Tyson Fury was a lot more hurt in the fight against Usyk than AJ's ever been in a fight against Usyk. He was down. And for some reason, people have this idea around AJ, but I don't really know where it comes from. Yes, if a 17-man hits you flush on the chin, it's going to hurt. That's the reality of it. That's why we love to watch heavyweight boxing. So, yeah, I take everything Simon Jordan says with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, fair enough. September 28th seems like a date of interest to Matchroom, Dalton Smith. I think Eddie Hearn was pretty open about it yesterday, talking about that. So, would that be definitely an option to go back to Sheffield on that day?
Yeah, I think by the time this comes out, it'll be announced, or if it's not, if you get this out very quickly and it isn't announced, it's coming soon. Dalton Smith back in the ring. So and a great card that we're just working through last night. We had some calls on the event, and what we're planning to do, some big fights on there as well. So yeah, that'll be announced very shortly, or announced already.
Well, you talk about big fights potentially on that card, and a fight that was ordered about this time sort of a couple of days ago, Ishmael Davis against Junaid Bostan. Obviously a bit of a weird one, because they are good friends as far as I'm aware, and they are two prospects. So, is that a fight that you'd be willing to take when it comes to, I suppose, matching two prospects who, well, they're not necessarily prospect, but sort of early pros, in the early stages of their career?
Yeah, look, I think we're driven by what the fighters want to do as well, and neither of those fighters don't want to take that opportunity. They want to get in there. They want that fight. So I think you'll see that fight. I think you'll see that fight on that card. And look, it's what people want as well. People want to see real fights that people, get people interested. That's a fight that gets people interested. It's for the benefit of the sport. And as I've said many, many times, the winner of that fight, is in a great place, but the loser of that fight by no means is finished. And I think, I think that's the kind of fight we want to see. And when both men want it, you're going to be in for a great fight because it means so much to them. So I think, and I hope you'll see that fight.
Definitely. And when it comes to the matchmaking of Junaid Bostan, for example, he's only 22, but he's still young, and he's had he's had some hard fights early on. So, are you ever careful when it comes to someone's age with putting them in certain fights?
Yeah, but at the same time, we're driven by the teams and the fighters as well. Like you say, he's had tough fights. He's been in tough fights already. He's learned a lot. And look, I think if Junaid's going to go to the fights that we believed and we believe he can go to, this is the kind of fight that he needs to take as well. And it's never always a perfect science, but I believe you're going to see a great fight if it happens between the two of them. But we're always cautious for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Last couple from myself, and we did see Chocolatito make a return yesterday, 10th round stoppage. That could be a next possible option for Jesse Rodriguez, or would you rather look at someone like Fernando Martinez in a unification?
Well, look, they're both represented by Taken Promotions. They've sparred in the past very recently. I think you saw it now. In a documentary in the build up to the Benn fight. It's an amazing fight if it was to happen. Whether it does, because they're close, they get on. They've known each other a long time. Jesse obviously started his career as well with Taken. So we'll see. We'll see how things play out. But of course, that's a fight people will be interested in seeing. But Jesse's had some time away. He'll be back in the gym in the next month or so, and then we'll decide what's next for him. There's obviously the talk previously of a potential rematch with Estrada as well. Whether that happens, we'll find out. But lots of big fights to be looking forward to. And the great thing is with Jesse Rodriguez, regardless of his age, he's just 24 years old, and when you think what he's already done. All he wants is big fights. He doesn't want warm-up fights. He doesn't want stay busy fights. He wants the biggest fights out there, whether that be unifications, whether that be Estrada again, whether that be a Chocolatito fight. So it's a credit to the sport, and I think exciting times ahead for him, and he's going to reign for a long time.
For sure. Last one from myself and last topic from myself. I did ask Eddie about it after the show on Saturday, but we're edging ever closer to the Olympics, and that means a new Team GB cycle. And there'll be a new talent of Team GB fighters to sign. I asked Eddie about Ramtin Musa, who's obviously sitting ringside on Saturday. But I suppose in general, when it comes to the Team GB cycle and the Olympian cycle, obviously not that many to choose from this year. But how careful do you think you are from maybe previous years when it comes to finding that right talent that you feel like is ready for Matchroom from that GB setup?
Yeah, look, I think we'll see who comes through it. There's some great fighters in there. One who obviously sticks out is a heavyweight, Delicious Ori. We'll see, but we'll see how they all do. And some of them might want to stay amateur. Some of them might not want to turn over at the same time. I think we've been not cautious in the past, but we haven't always got every Olympian that's come through, and the market is changing as well. The boxing market is changing, the landscape's changing, and also we're not just looking at British fighters, we're looking at fighters, American fighters in the Olympics as well. All of these different countries, we have a global stable, so our focus is signing the best fighters that come out of the Olympics. And also I think you've seen as well over recent times, it's not just the Olympians who come through and do well. There's a lot of amateurs who come through that don't get on the Team GB stage or into the national squads. It's ongoing. It's ongoing. They don't get me wrong, they come out with a much bigger commercial profile, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go all the way to the top. But for sure, we'll look closely and see what's out there.
And as far as the Olympics are aware, when you see someone like Jalilov, who is boxing in the super heavyweight Olympics, is that fair? I know obviously Richard Ferreira is fighting in the female 60 kilos, obviously your fighter. I think many people would probably say it's slightly unfair on the girls who haven't got that extra experience, I guess. How would you look at it?
Yeah, but I suppose it's two very different codes or sports, if you like.
Yeah,
You know, there's a lot of amateurs who come through to the pros and never really replicate what they did as amateurs in the professional ranks. So, you know, it's very different. You know, you're going from championship rounds back into shorter rounds, and you know, Bia, for example, world champion in the professional field, and now going back looking to become an Olympic champion. Will be there when she gets to the final as well,
yeah,
in Paris. But you know, I think I don't think it's unfair. I think it's just, you know, they're not all going to go in there and do a job on the amateurs. The amateurs might, you know, might deliver and do a job on the pros. You know,
yeah.
it's like I say, I think it's two very different fields, really, and it's quite hard to switch in. You know, I always find it quite amazing that these fighters, you know, can switch in and out between the two because they are very different.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Anyway, Frank, as always, thank you for taking time to speak to me. Really, really do appreciate it. And yeah, enjoy all the rest that Osaka has to offer. And yeah, hopefully, not too. Hopefully, the 4 a.m. start, if you do it, is worth it for the England game on Sunday, mate. As always, really, really appreciate your time.
No worries, mate. Good to catch up.
Thank you.